Fala aí, meus queridos players! Sejam muito bem-vindos ao nosso canal. E estamos aqui continuando a nossa série com a família Finchers, né? A Edith que está no topo. E paramos na parte onde o Lewis, a gente descobriu que ele ficou meio
Lewis's room
piruta.
smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
Ó, Lewis Finch. Certo? Da Finch.
Dear Mrs. Finch,
Putz,
as
vamos ter que
Lewis's
reviver essa parte.
psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for
Mas já
substance
passamos
abuse.
essa parte. Ah, eu acho que não gravou, né? Vamos ter que jogar de novo.
Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life.
Vamos lá. Vamos fazer a parte do Lewis.
He kept working at the cannery, but he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to wander. I asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats and toads. And things that have no names. He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself.
Ah.
But he found something more. I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused.
Que será, né? Viver em dois mundos?
Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend. On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians.
Véio, a mente do cara, velho. Totalmente viajando.
And songs for them to play.
Tipo, o cara totalmente multifuncional. Tô cortando peixe ao mesmo tempo viajando nas ideias.
And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery, but his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination. So he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him.
Aproveitem café. Errei o peixe já.
He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Lewis.
Oi! Ixi, quase bati aqui no botão. Ah, bati embora.
St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis, until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on.
Ixi, a mãe dele falando com ele nem tinha. Vixe, tá em outra realidade.
In Lewisburg,
Um lindo
he
príncipe
heard
ou uma linda
rumors of
rainha?
a
Uma linda rainha.
handsome queen.
Tá, vamos lá.
The queen was on her own quest for
Vou pelas serpentes sinistras.
sinister serpents. He followed the sound of her
Seu. Uma harpa prateada. Ih, cara, deixei o peixe.
silver harp. His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even there, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his
Nossa,
imagination.
jogaram mais peixe pra mim aqui, velho. Para com isso aí.
But he was so proud of having created it.
E aí, galera, vamos diminuir o peixe aí.
In his own
Estamos vendo a
eyes,
história.
he'd become something greater than a king.
Olha a diferença da imaginação do cara.
For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
Nossa, mãe. Olha isso. Agora nós estamos controlando o Lewis. Quem?
He began to forget the world we know.
Ele é um dependente químico, né?
I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker.
E é peixe, hein? Isso aqui acho que foi tudo eu. Cortando. O cara trabalhando. Não trabalhou nada.
He began to despise the man with a royal contempt. I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions.
How's this instrumento?
Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on advising.
anda bem devagar, hein?
There was only one thing left to do.
Mano.
Bend down his head.
Pior que eu não tenho escolha, né?
And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
É, meus caros. Difícil. Não, não, eu quero desbir não. Bota. Edith. Tem uma balança aqui. O irmão dela era dependente, então acabou acontecendo de a mãe dele arrumou um emprego na peixaria lá e ele viajou nas terras. Vamos embora.
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder.
Ó, desapareci. A Ed é tipo a avó.
I wish we'd stayed.
Meu, olha os cartazes do irmão do Milton. Edith, nome. Tadinha.
But I understand why we left.
Tá, eu tô olhando tudo, tá, gente? Desenho. Deixa eu ver uma coisa. Ó Deus. É tipo uma oração. Me dê coragem.
My mom ended up leaving everything behind.
Minha mãe acabou deixando tudo pra trás. Gente, olha isso. Sanjay Kumar Evac Specialist. Olha o Sanjay. Ah, feliz aniversário, 90 anos. Fincher. Grandmas. Grandmas não é a avó? Deve ser neta. Sei lá.
What happened that night had
O
been
que
coming
aconteceu
for a
naquela
long
noite estava
time.
para acontecer há muito tempo.
Maybe it should have come sooner.
Edith. Mano, isso aqui é perturbador, velho. Olha os bichinhos. A pipa.
But it had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
Não, ainda falta o porão lá ainda que você não me contou o que tem naquele porão. Ela que vai escrever? Nossa!
The That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
To our final night together, and all our final nights apart.
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
A Edith saiu. Ok. E aí, mãe, que jantar é esse, mãe? Que eu não sei nem onde eu tô. Deixou aqui corredor. No corredor da escuridão dava uma lanterninha, né, velho? Olha, não sei nem onde eu tô, velho. Tudo na cega, ó, como que era a casa arrumadinha.
the power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles.
Ah, a energia tinha sido desligada, mas ela sempre tinha muitas vezes. A caixinha de música. Ah, tá sendo.
When my mom sailed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance.
Nessa época ela tinha assumido Newton.
Or that Edie had a key to it.
Que a Edith tinha a chave. Ela falou que deixou um presente pra mim, velho, no corredor. Cadê? Que presente é esse que ela deixou pra mim que eu não tô vendo? Só aqui assim. A velha espalhou vela pra todo lugar.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight.
A mãe estava tentando me proteger. Um sapo.
We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
Na cama. A história dos Finchers. Por Edith Finch.
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could
Nossa,
tell
uma
you.
história dentro de outra
There's only
história.
time for one. This is about what
Pergunta
happened
desse.
on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out.
Então, eu sou quem agora? Sou a avó, né? Aquela noite a maré baixou.
It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life.
Tá, a casa que o Odin não saiu.
But I never thought I'd go back to it.
Essa não foi.
When the fog rolled in, I lost my way.
Ah, vou seguir reto, né?
I got turned around. For a while, I wandered.
Tá.
I started seeing things.
Peraí. Tá, ela tá procurando ainda
Things I'd forgotten had ever existed.
E aí, jogo? Me perdi mesmo. Ah, tá. Que eu tinha me esquecido que existia.
But when I saw them, they felt like old friends.
Tá. Pareciam velhas amigas.
That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I
Talvez eu
came
tenha
back to
voltado para
them.
elas.
Things I
Coisas
can't
que eu não sei
explain,
explicar, mas
but that I need you to
preciso
try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it. Let go. I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it,
Minha mãe não gostava de falar do assunto,
but she
mas
started
começou a
getting
ficar
sick a lot.
doente seguidas vezes.
The rest happened pretty quickly.
Então, Finch.
She got better for a while, and then she didn't.
Ai, tadinho.
And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you.
É o que eu tô pensando que é?
But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you. And tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
Nossa. Mas por que ela morreu? Story de Espero. Mano, o que eu tenho pra dizer sobre o game? Pera. Perfeito. Ele te prendeu, ele é um suspense. Você fica curioso para saber o que vai acontecer, o porquê daquilo, mas vamos dizer assim, o final surpreendente, só que deixou uma vírgula. O porquê a Edith morreu? Porque todos tiveram um motivo de sua morte. A mãe ficou doente e tal, mas a Edith teve um filho, ela morreu no parto. Talvez seja isso, cada um teve uma maldição, algo que não teve uma explicação. Então, eu achei bem legal sim o jogo, muito válido. Meu, sensacional. Não tenho nem o que dizer em relação a isso. Os desenvolvedores estão de parabéns. Ficou muito bom a parte de design, de questão de deixar real a movimentação, o toque, os personagens em si. Até a questão das fotos que nem vocês estão vendo agora. Meu, muito legal. Gostei. Espero que também vocês tenham curtido, né? Não esqueçam também de compartilhar, que ajuda muito o nosso canal. E vamos ver se vai ter alguma coisinha falando sobre... Vamos ver se tem algum pós-crédito, alguma coisinha, um spin-off. Se não tiver, já me despeço de vocês. E até o próximo vídeo. Beleza? Até a próxima, players!